All right. Good day once again. Welcome to GreatMinds Tutors lessons. All right. So at the end of this lesson, we are going to understand these various functions: the sum function, average, sum product, count, and all of that. And we're going to learn them and apply them on these data sets that we have. This data set is about a sales record, right? This is a sales transaction. So we're going to understand the sum function quickly. The sum function is used to add numbers. For instance, if you want to add 2 and 4, you use the sum function to do that. That's something like you could have done 2 plus 4. So instead have a function that can be used to achieve. That's what the sum function is used to achieve. So we apply each function we learn on this data set. Can we quickly find some summaries about these cells? Some summaries from these cells, from this record we have. What is total sales? Let us see total sales. How much sales is recorded by this company in all? Let's see that. So apply the sum function. We have the total sales amount there. So we apply it. Please follow me very closely. We apply it on the data sum. So this gives us the total sales of transactions. From the transactions, everything from here up to the end, that is the total sales that is recorded. That is how to use the sum function. The next one is the average sales. Average. Remember, average is the sum of everything all over everything. Sum of everything all over, count or number of everything. That's what average is all about. When you sum everything and then you divide by the number of times, the number of values you have, that is called average. For instance, if I have 2, 4, and 6, if I want to get the average, what will I do? I will do equals sum 2, 4, 6. There are 3 items divided by 3. That will give me the average of those 3 values. That is what average is. So let's apply it on the data. We have average sales. So average sales, we have a function in Excel called average. We have a function in Excel that is called average. So we use that function to get that done. Average, that's the name of the function you can use to calculate average of numbers. So we're still looking at the total, the sales amount again. That's what we are using. Sales amount and then the average. So we are calculating the average sale. That's the average sales recorded in this business. That could have also been, another way you could have done that is, we already have the sum recorded here, all over, count of the records, we can see count of the record. That is also the same, another way you could get the average. That's also another way you could get the average. That gives us the same result, total all over, count. That is what I mean. All right. The next one is, the next function we'll look at quickly is the sum product function. The sum product is used to sum the product of values. For instance, if I have price and then I have quantity, all right, and then I have total. For instance, if I have if this is 5, 3, and this is let's say 30, and I have 12, and then this one is 27. Sum product means total should have been this times this. All right, and apply that, drag that down. That will give me total. Then the overall total now is the sum of this guy, the sum of the total. That's the overall total. All right, that's the overall total of maybe that's revenue or something. Overall total. So sum product is what we can use to achieve that overall total. So something like we would have done is something like this. Open bracket. This times this plus, you put another bracket, this times this other one. That is sum total again, as you see. So we have a function in Excel called sum product. Sum product, what do? you pick this range, that's the range of the price, and then the range of the product. If you have more other values to join to add to it, you can also add it. But for now, we have only price and quantity. So use sum product to get the overall total. That gives us the same result. So that is what sum product do for you. Remember, the various arrays must be of equal length. If there are two prices, quantity must also be 2. All right, so all the arrays must be of equal size. That is what sum product does. I hope you understand that was clear to you. All right, we don't have anything to do with sum product in our data set, in this data set we are currently looking at. So will not apply. So just get that you have learned sum product now. The next thing we currently quickly look at is the count function. Count is used to count the number of values that are numbers, to count how many of the records are numbers. That is what count does. All right, if I have these values, if I have like if I have this, all right, so count would count. If I want to count those 3 values there, everything there, I will have 2. Reason is because 2 of those values are numbers. The third one, which is this, is not a number. So the count function is used to count values that are numbers, values that are numbers. So let us see, that can help us to see how many transactions were recorded. How many transactions were recorded? I may not use I can use unit price. That will still give us the same result, because we just want to look at how many transactions were recorded in this data set. So how many transactions? We have 250 transactions. That means this data set consists 250 rows. How can we confirm that? If you scroll down the data to the left, you see this 251. That's the last row. 251. That's the last row. Remember, the first row is used for titles. So it means there are 250 records that are recorded. And the count function just confirmed that to us. Is that okay? We have the sister to count, and that is count A. Count A means count all. It will count everything provided they are not empty, both numbers and text. So if I do count A, for instance, and apply it on this selection, I've selected 4 things, so I will have 4 because all of them are content values. So that is what count A does. Is that okay now? That's what count A does. We don't have something to apply it on in our data set currently. We have also the count blank function. We have count blank as well. We have count blank. Count blank is used to count how many rows are empty, or how many cells are empty. The number of rows that are empty, use count blank to check. For instance, if you are looking for missing values in your data set, you could just do blank, count blank. All right, that will give you the number of cells that are empty in your data set. Do the count function, and then you have number of cells that are empty. So count blank tells us that no cell is empty. There is no missing value in this data set we are working on currently. So we have seen number of records 250. How many missing values are found? None is found. Is that okay? That's count blank. The next one we see is the product function. The product is used to simply multiply numbers. Is that okay? The way you do multiplication. For instance, 2 times 5, 3 times 5 will give me 15. In Excel, there's a function called product you could also use to do that multiplication. 3, 5. That means 3 times 5. I also have 15. That's what product does. Is that okay? That is what product do. Let's see what this look like. Okay, this look like product of these values. Let's say product of units and unit price. Unit times unit price. Is that okay? In other words, quantity times unit price. That's what we've just done. So that let's extend it to all the rows. All right, so it's extended. Is that okay? That is what product does. That's what product does. Is that okay now? So we've gotten the answer correctly. Got it correctly. Now the next one we look at is the what is it called again? Power function. Power function is used to find the exponent of a number. For instance, if you will do 2 raised to power 3, 2 to power of 3. That's 2 raised to power 3 will give you 8. Is it not true? 2 times 2 times 2, 3 times. That is 8. So in Excel, we have a function that can be used, that we can use to achieve something like that. Power, you put the base first, then you put the exponent, number before exponent. Is that okay? So power, you put the number, then you provide the exponent. This is 2 raised to power 10. That's what I've just written. I will have 8. Is that okay? If you want to do a number raised to power 5, for instance, 2 raised to power 5, I think it's supposed to be 125 or so. 32 rather, is 32. 2 raised to power 5 is 32. That means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 up to 5 times. That is what the power function can do. The next one we have is the square root function. Quickly, it's also a numeric function you can use to find strictly the square root of a number. Power can give you square, it can give you another power, another exponent, but square root is strictly for square root. For instance, you know the square root of 4 is 2, right? So if I have square root, that's the name of the function, square root of 4, it requires just one value. Excel will tell me is 2, all right? Square root of 25, we know is 5. All right. So, do you know why I'm testing with these values that you know? It's because if you can confirm with the values you know, even when you put a bigger number that you don't know, a larger number, 10,000 for instance, whatever result we have is correct. This 100, that is square root of 100. Because if it is correct with a small number, it's also correct with the bigger number. That's how we verify the correctness and accurateness of formulas. Is it okay? All right. So that's square root just right now. We have the next function, the round function. Round function is used to approximate a number to a number of decimal points that we desire. It's mostly a round up. Is that okay? For instance, if I want to round up 3 points, let me say 3.677, maybe I want to round it up to 2 decimal points, 2 decimal places. I will have to use a round up, and that will give me 3.68. All right. 3.68, 3.6767 is the number. You provide number of decimal places you want. So that will give me 3.68 by the time I round it up. Is that okay? You have an exercise to do now. Round 34 point this. All right. Round it to 3 decimal places. Round it up. Do that in 5 seconds. Good. So what do you get? Hope you got this result. We say to 3 decimal places. So put the value, then you put 3. That is what round up does. So we have 45.878. If you got that answer the way we got it, or if you do what we did, write your comment. Write on the comment section what your result is when you round up this. Write also on the comment section what you get when you round up this number to 2 decimal places. When you round up this number to 2 decimal places, what is your answer? Write it on the comment section. Thank you. Well done. The next function we look at quickly is the floor function. You see what round do? Round will only do a round up. Sometimes you want to round down. All right. If you want to round down, we now have options of do round up as you want or round down as you want, and the rounding up to a whole number. All right, as the case may be. So we have the floor function. Excel call it math.floor. So floor is used to round a number down to the nearest whole number that is smaller or less than the number you provided. So we have floor.math. This is a fraction now, a decimal number, 3.6767. Floor is going to turn it to 3, approximate it to 3. That is the nearest whole number smaller than this one. It's going to make it 3. That's what floor do. Is that okay? So while ceiling is going to round it up to the nearest whole number bigger than the number you provided. All right, nearest whole number bigger than the number you provided. So if I still put this, I'm going to have 4. The result is 4. Because why? 4 is the nearest whole number bigger than the number we provided. That is the ceiling function. The next function quickly we look at is SUMIF function. SUMIF. We have seen already that the sum function is used to add values, all right? No condition to the addition, but SUMIF is going to add those values based on a condition, and it's going to add only the values that meet this given condition. Is that okay? Only the values that meet a given condition. Is that okay now? So that is what SUMIF does. So look at, so the SUMIF function requires 3 arguments. The first one is the range of the condition, where the group from where you want to get the condition, all right? The set of values that constitute the condition. Then the next one is a criteria. Criteria is the particular, what exactly is the condition you are giving. Then the last argument is the values you want to add, all right, based on the given condition. So for instance, in our records here, we have salespersons. In this data set, you can see we have salesperson, right? Sales representative in this record, in this business. So if you want to find how much each salesperson made, records based on salesperson, for instance, if you want to see maybe total sales of each of the salesperson, we can use the SUMIF to do that. Let us look at the people we have there, the salespersons we have in the sales record. We have Grace, John, Mary, Samuel. Let's take some of them. Grace, John, Mary, Samuel. Sorry, I meant to write Mary. Samuel. We have Daniel as well. All right. There's another name there. We have Ada. These are the records we can see from the salesperson, right? Now, we want to check how much did Grace sales, how much revenue or how much total sales did Grace make from that record that we have there. So a suitable function to do that is the SUMIF function. What do? We have to pass the, what is it called, the salesperson column as the range for the condition, as the range that constitutes the condition, all right? And then we can manually type Grace. That's the condition we are checking. If the salesperson is Grace, then how much sales did she make in all in this business report? How much sales did she make in all? That is it. SUMIF. First, you provide the column or the range of data that constitute the condition you have. Then you specify the condition you are looking for, and then you specify what you want to add. So we are saying if the salesperson is Grace, then tell us how much total sales she made. All right. So we're able to see from that summary that Grace made this total amount of sales. We can also have that done for John. Is that okay? Where do we start from? You pick the sales person again, as we did before. Pick the sales person again. Is that okay? Pick the sales person. Then now we don't need to write John manually, so we can extend our formula to the next. So we just click on the cell that contains John, and then we click on the total sales amount. Is that okay? The sales amount. So you do that, that will give us the total sales generated by John. All right. So let's drag it down for Samuel and Daniel. Now you have an assignment, you have a classwork right now. Quickly check how much sales did Ada make. How much did Ada make? What is the total sales generated by Ada? Is that okay? Do that in 8 seconds, 1 minute. Okay, do it in 1 minute. How much sales? What is the total sales made by Ada? Beautiful. Let's confirm. Write your answer in the comment section, even as we confirm. We don't need to write a new formula. Write your answer on the comment section. Write your formula and write your answer on this comment section. Go, we have 3754,000, right? That is 207 million or so, 30,554,000. That is the total sales made by Ada. So we have used SUMIF to find these sales. We can also, the next function we see is the SUMIFS. SUMIFS, that is, we can call it total sales by product. Total product sales, for instance now, right? So we're going to add a new condition now. We're going to check how much do they sell from each product, all right? there are, you can see there are a lot of products in the record. We have in the product name here, you see notebook, office chair, a monitor, headset, keyboard, and all of that. So we want to check for each of these products they sold, how much did they make from each product. If you want, we can also write out the product here. Okay, let's write product here first. Let's form this for product, and then we have products. What are the products? We have notebook, we have monitor, we have office chair. That's from that record. We have headset, we have laptop. You can find more products from there. Okay, let's just make it one more. What do we have more there? We have laptop, we have is there another product that's not there? Then we have captured all the products. Okay, so when I see total sales by product, so we want to check how much did each of them sell for this product. So for instance, how much did Grace make from selling notebook? Of all notebook Grace sold, how much did she sell in total? So in that case, we need a SUMIFS function, because now we have multiple criteria right to check. Is that okay? Now in SUMIFS, the formula, the procedure change a bit. In SUMIF, the sum range come last, but now the sum range come first before the criteria you want to check. Is that okay? So the sum range remains the total sales, like we saw, the total sales. All right, total sales. Then the first criteria, anyone can come first, of course. Let me put product first. Products. If the product is, that's what that means. If the product is what column are we looking at? If the product is notebook, that's what we are checking. For notebook, that's what we are doing now. For notebook, comma, and then the last is if the salesperson now. The next one is the salesperson. If the salesperson is, of course, Grace. If the salesperson is Grace, that was what we're looking at. Is that okay? Sum range first. The first criteria range, and then the range from that criteria, the criteria from that range. The second criteria range, then the criteria from that range. If you have more criteria, you can of course specify it. Is that okay? When we hit it, we will see that Grace generated 126,000 naira or dollars from selling notebook in this business record. Is that okay? We don't know how many times she sold notebook. All right, but we can see that she generated of course, one of the formulas we write will reveal to us how many times she sold notebook to make her generate this amount of money. If you drag it down, okay, it's going to change a bit now. So this means John generated what is it called? That's about 90 or 9 million or so. Is that 9 million? Yeah, John generated $9 million from selling monitor. All right, if you want to change it to be exactly Grace still, we can still put here Grace. Let's put here Grace. All right, so we can just do an analysis for Grace only. Is that okay? And then the products remain the same. Okay, so this means Grace did not sell monitor at all. Let's move down and see. Grace did not sell office chair at all. Grace did not sell headset at all. Grace did not sell laptop. Is that true? We'll verify. Let's confirm our formula. Product sales, Grace, N16. N16. Oh, sorry, I changed wrongly. I was supposed to change N16 where we have name of the people. Is that okay? So I'm checking for Grace. This should be Grace here. You have to verify. You know, when things when a pattern happens somehow, you have to carefully analyze and investigate that pattern. Is that okay? So we are looking at product now. Product now is for monitor, right? Yeah. So this one should be changing for us. So Grace sold. This was for Grace, of course. Grace sold 738,000 or 73,778,000 from Monitor. That's what Grace sold. Moving down, we still confirm for others. Grace sold this amount for office chair. Grace sold this amount for headset. Grace sold this amount for this. Of course, there's no product here. All right. So that is how to use the SUMIFS function. That's how to use the SUMIFS function. The next one we see quickly is AVERAGEIF. AVERAGEIF is just like the SUMIF. If you want to find average sales by each salesperson, you can have a beautiful function there called AVERAGEIF. All right. So first is the criteria range. Let's use the salesperson again as we did before. All right. We're using the salesperson again. All right. And then let's look at Grace. If the salesperson is Grace. All right. Then sales amount. That means we're starting with Grace. So the first result is going to tell us how much the average sales Grace made. This average sales made by Grace. Is that okay? That is it. Then the next one we also have is AVERAGEIFS. The same way we did have SUMIFS, that's how we do AVERAGEIFS. So AVERAGEIFS. So this is just like saying AVERAGEIFS. Now, if the salesperson first you find the average range, all right, the range that you want to find the average. Is that okay? And remember we said it must be a numeric column. Then the condition, just like we did for AVERAGEIFS. All right, the condition will have salesperson. All right, let's pick salesperson first. If salesperson is let's start with Grace. Let's still do it for Grace. If salesperson is Grace, and then if the product she sold, let's look at product. If the product she sold, right, is notebook. If the product she sold is notebook, that's how to use the AVERAGEIF. That's it. So Grace made an average sales of 25,200 naira, $200 from selling notebook. That's how to use the AVERAGEIF. The next function is the COUNTIF function. We saw earlier how we don't know how many of these products these people sold. All right. So the COUNTIF function can be used to find the number of this product the people sold. Is the number of times they sold the product count, right? So let's see COUNTIF. Let's check salesperson. All right, that is the first thing. The count range. All right. Then the next one is the criteria. So what we mean is how many times did Grace even appear in the sales record? That's what we're talking about. And the criteria. So Grace appeared 42 times. Grace appeared 42 times. All right, which means Grace made sales 42 times and all of that. Though within that is not for a particular product. If you not go by product, count for product. Count for product or by product. How many times did each of the people sold a particular COUNTIFS? Let's see how many times Grace sold, each of the person sold a particular product. All right, let's take it for Grace. All right, and then for product, let's see how many times she sold notebook. We already saw how much she made from notebook. Let's see how many times she sold notebook. You can type notebook there. Is that okay? So we have those two. So she sold notebook 5 times. she sold notebook 5 times. And even we didn't use this strict the hard-coded values. I would have dragged it down for other products and check how much she sold. Or let us just check. Let us remove the hard code of product and point to our product here. All right. We have 5, so drag it down. If we drag it down, we have she sold notebook 5 times, she sold monitor 8 times, office chair that number of times. Is that okay? That is the end of the topic today. I've told you earlier, if you have not seen our old lesson, if you have not seen our lesson on if you have not seen our lesson on numeric functions, please do well to get that lesson. Our next lesson after this again will be very interesting. Look out on this channel and you'll get that lesson. Thank you. Remember to subscribe to our channel if you have not done that. All right. Take care. See you in our next lesson.